Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Oh boy, 1.7.2 has hit live servers, and I've dived into the patch notes to see if anything from yesterday's developer stream was missed out. Though the premise of this update may seem small in the grand scheme of things, there's actually a lot of impactful changes here that are looking like the game is heading in a good direction concerning player retention and rewards, and it seems like some of the community concerns are actually being heard. Lots of cool changes here, so we'll get stuck in. First up is a nice addition in the form of bonuses upon your first successful extraction. This works once per hunter, and after 24 hours the same hunter can receive this bonus again, if they are even still alive. These bonuses might not seem like a lot, but nonetheless a decent kickstart boost for fresh hunters. If you pull this off 5 days in a row regardless of hunter, there's an additional blood bond reward. Here's an example based on the roster. Hunter's indicator has extracted successfully with a bonus, and just under the rank I imagine this is the 5 stack indicator. And here's the example of the accolade cards. As always, they look great. Dark Tributes. Mr. Orwell Achari is back to provide more rewards, and this was like another permanent addition. Going back to the most recent Winter Solstice event, Orwell was a narrative idea behind providing the bonus time limited contracts. You know, the ones that were a bit hit and miss depending on when you obtain them. This time the choice is yours as you will play and earn XP, and the rewards are multiple. For the shown amount of Bloodline XP earned, you can receive the following. Anytime after the 3rd threshold, you can spend 100 blood bombs if you want. This is reset daily and is a huge leap for the game in terms of retainment and reward. We have an example of reward as well as the exclusive hunter. Onto pressing issues, namely the bugs and problems introduced with the most recent updates. Having gone through the patch notes, there's little difference compared to the developer stream and no sign of any stealth additions, so to speak. Current topics such as the ADS posture bug and the rework of Kane are listed at the bottom of the patch notes. Under new equipment, the SCOTTFIELD has received some insane love here. For a rank 1 weapon, the versatility it carries with it now is worth the time required to invest in it. It will surely also make fresh prestiges run a bit smoother as well, no doubt. We now have the Spitfire, Precision and Swift variations added. I honestly don't see any downsides to the SCOTTFIELD. Sure, it comes across as a clunkier brother of the PAX perhaps on paper, but the added variants make up for this in a huge way, diversifying your early loadouts on a budget easily. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future the SCOTTFIELD gets moved up a few ranks before initially unlocking it, as it makes the Nagant almost redundant when it comes to choice. BERTHIER DEADEYE variant is a welcome addition. Can't say I've been too hasty in running with the newest long ammo gun to really get a feel for it. Nothing is going to replace the Martini for me personally in that current area. WINFIELD gets some more custom ammo love with FMJs. I don't see an issue with this, though I imagine as most like to complain and don't adapt quick enough to new additions, this is something that will likely be a bit controversial for some time. Friendly fire makes a return, but only for the following explosive related equipment. And now on to dual wielding. Dual wielding is one of those things that deserves a place in the game, but hasn't been handled too considerately given the mechanics behind it. These are some great changes though. My only worry is still that first one-shot tap out of nowhere. Going toe-to-toe versus dual wielding is something I treat the same as shotguns or Winnie levering, and usually isn't an issue. Added recoil will certainly help in those close and mid-range fights, and I guess time will tell if the one-shot tap problem still will persist. With accuracy also being touched upon, I would hope so. The bow certainly has one of the lowest pick rates ever since the Light and Shadows events. It's rarely seen, so it's good to see it get some buffs here. Dragon's Breath once again gets another buff. I think this is the 3rd buff. Again, it can be hit and miss in the PvP area, as it most definitely doesn't perform the same versus PvE. Explosive Crossbow has recently seen a surge across all platforms. Many PC people won't get these changes as they are more for peace of mind for the console platforms, but it has been used more and more commonly on PC, so this is a welcome change also. Now, I love alert trip mines, I love red barrels. Now, I have even more options to utilize leftover alert trips, as 2 together can set a player on fire. The poison buff is also welcome, as once again it's a very heavily underutilized consumable from my experience. And now the greatest change on paper in this update. On the way to unlocking those alert trips, it will make decoys actually more useful, and who knows, it may become a staple for CQB loadouts. If anything, fucking with other players is one of those things you can do so well in Hunt. The book of weapons entry for Decoys nor the equipment description has actually been updated, but they do work and on all surfaces as you would expect a player to behave, so they will be fun to use. Horse changes that I never knew were needed, and as it was explained in yesterday's dev stream, the whinny of a horse that's been triggered should be heard easily now beyond 80 meters, much like the dog and chicken noise traps. For some time this has been inconsistent, so they have remedied this. And finally, windows and doors not rendering is a much needed fix. Without testing this out myself yet, I don't know the implications of distance. Fixed surely means they will render at all distances, but looking at the patch notes, it's slightly contradictory. That concludes the recap of 1.7.2. Overall, a great update with some unexpected additions.